Hello everyone and welcome back to Southern Wealth. I hope you guys are doing very well. If you do enjoy the content, please consider dropping that like and subscribe. As you guys know, that's the only thing that I ask. So today I wanted to do a little bit of a different video, not so much about the current market updates and so on, but a little bit about the fundamentals of crypto and the reason why I'm so convinced that we will do very well in this cycle, regardless of who is elected. Obviously, if you have a friendly US, that's much better than if you have an opponent US, right? So that should be quite obvious for everybody. So what I want to say, because this typically confuses people, you see the fundamentals of crypto. You have two types. You have the fundamentals that are linked to adoption and to development of the crypto space and blockchain as technology. And then you have the fundamentals for price appreciation. Sometimes they are many times they are interlinked, but sometimes you can basically have little to no new adoption, and price can still appreciate based on certain events happening. So just as an example, let's say you have the same user base, and that user base is doing the same level of volume per day in terms of transactions, right? But let's say that every time that there's a transaction, a little bit of the coin is burnt. So as long as you have the same level of transactions, and let's say you don't have new adoption and they have basically the same buying and selling kind of volume, then the coin will appreciate in price just because there's less of it. But does that have anything to do with the fundamentals of the coin itself, of the crypto space? No, it's just a function of improving the price, but not necessarily fundamentals behind the coin. Now, what people get it wrong, this is the problem, they always get it incorrectly, is that the fundamentals precede the price movements. You see, it's very easy after the price has moved to go back and say, oh, the price went up because of this, and that, or the price went down because of this, and that. Now, there are a lot of things happening right now which are incredibly bullish for crypto, but people are simply not paying attention because the price is not yet reflecting. You see, when Bitcoin hits 90K, 100K, 120K, etc., then people will go back and talk about those fundamentals like they've just happened all at once. No, they've been happening. They've been planting the seeds, if you will, for a massive development into the future. So, for example, did you know that Japan has become friendlier towards crypto? They are looking to basically, they've suggested openness for lower taxes and dedicated ETFs. Of course, if there's a US strategic reserve for Bitcoin, you can bet that Japan will copy that because Japan copies everything that the US does. But the point being, Japan is actually becoming more friendlier towards crypto. The UAE, Dubai in particular, has become more and more important in the world of digital assets, including some of the banks over there starting to accept crypto as well. They now do, I don't know, $30 billion have gone through Dubai related to crypto this year, which is like a 40% year-on-year increase. Did you know that? Most people don't. Did you know that you have not just El Salvador in Latin America, but you have Colombia, Argentina, Brazil, and Mexico being more and more friendlier towards crypto, and potentially there are some rumors they may be considering to follow to some extent El Salvador's example. Singapore has the most consistent, the most clear, very friendly crypto regulatory framework, and they are the commodity trading hub of the planet and one of the most important financial places in the world. Russia has become obviously very friendly towards crypto back in August, and China, through Hong Kong has also become much more open to crypto. And there's even a rumor that China will unban Bitcoin by the end of the year. Is that true? Is it not? I mean, it surely would help. But I mean, they've banned it and unbanned it so many times that it has lost a lot of power. It's the same thing that we discussed yesterday. Every time you see the same event over and over again, it kind of tends to have less and less impact. The point being, the world, in different parts of the world, is becoming friendlier and friendlier towards crypto, while the US, as of late, has been quite negative. Obviously, if a certain orange man is elected, that will also change. But the point being, that was my point also, about the US. If Kamala gets elected, then, the innovation just shifts elsewhere on the planet. It's not like crypto will not die. It will just go someplace else. It's terrible for Americans if you live in the US. It's terrible, sure. I mean, even, if you are in the US and you have crypto investments, this should be actually a single issue voting kind of thing, because it can really destroy a lot of your freedoms and abilities. But it's not like the world will stop. I've mentioned this before. There was a point where London was the capital of finance on the planet until they did something really stupid, and then New York became the number one. Meaning that these things, it's not like they will always be the number one. No, these things change over time. Now, so the point is, these are all positive things. These are all things working in the background. Things that basically disprove certain people's theories, like Peter Schiff, that crypto will be finished completely. No, because now a lot of people are starting to have inherent interest to have it succeed. Then you have the thing, so these are the things working on the background. It's a little bit like, where you're doing the bear market and you see the number of wallets in holding Bitcoin is increasing, the hash rate is increasing, right? The activity in the network has never been higher. Those are all things that say, okay, this is not dead. Now the price is subdued because the price is mostly linked to liquidity cycles, but there's life in the ecosystem. That's the key. There is life. It's not finished. Never forget, the number one asset, or the number one quality that a coin needs to have is the community. And for example, one of the reasons I like X and PulseChain and PulseX, etc., is because they have the most rabid, cultish community that I've ever seen. Now, most people think, oh, are you insulting me? No, I think that's great. That's the point. You want to have a rabid, crazy, dedicated, never give up kind of community. Not even 99% can destroy you. That kind of mentality is very rare, and it's very important to have, because you cannot replicate it easily. You can try to replicate projects, but you cannot replicate people and dedication and belief and conviction. Those things you don't replicate. So a lot of positive things are happening in the background. You have other things, like, for example, the FTX creditors are actually going to get 119% back of what they were owed, I think up to $16.5 billion. And I do believe that on October 31st or something, the final decision will be made. And then the money will start to be distributed in November, December, and going into Q1 2025. Now, that is 16 billion. Now, let's say that half of it goes back into crypto. That's a massive amount of money, right? That's pretty much, what is it? Is pretty much, I don't know, half of what Grayscale has sold, more or less, in terms of Bitcoin, right? So it's quite a bit. Now, Grayscale has sold about 60-something% of their holdings, which means they have less to sell. The Germans are out. They sold everything. There are rumors that the DOJ has sold all their coins as well, which means you don't have that many big sellers. The miners have sold also most of their positions, right? So there's a lot of sellers which are now out, or mostly out, which means now when the price goes up, they cannot hurt it anymore. Is liquidity maxed out? No, not even close. Is retail already here? No. Are the rate cuts finished? No. is debt creation finished? No. Is deficit spending finished? No. So you have a lot of things going forward. And then, of course, if you have the Orange Man getting elected, then you have the full force of the US innovative spirit and the full force of the regulatory bodies in favor of it, whilst having also, the most liquid investment market on the planet, looking at it from a positive standpoint rather than people being kind of shaky to touch it because they are always afraid that with the Democrats you never know what's going to happen and they can basically destroy your investment. So nobody feels very comfortable, promoting that much crypto into, IRAs and Roths and all of that. So all the retirement vehicles. But if you have the Orange Man there, then people may be much more comfortable. When I say people, I'm talking about your Goldman Sachs and so on, being much more, comfortable in basically suggesting people to have a portion of their retirement funds into crypto, which then it doesn't matter if it's 1 or 2%. If you're talking about, hundreds of billions of dollars or trillions of dollars even, then it starts to make a big effect. And then you can also speculate the same way that everybody speculates to the downside, right? Oh, this is going to happen and this is going to get destroyed and that's going to be annihilated and all of this kind of stuff. You can also say, what if the US puts in place the strategic reserve and other countries start to copy it? Consider that. What if European Union decides to do the same? What if the UK decides to do the same? What if Australia decides to do the same? What if Saudi Arabia decides to do the same? What if, you get the point, right? So you can also speculate to that side of the business. Now, what I'm trying to say here is I do see a lot of mainstream, and I'm talking about mainstream, I'm talking about geographically diversified, good fundamentals of crypto keep on being developed over and over and over again, although the price is still not reflecting it. And that's the advantage, that's the opportunity. It's when the price has not moved yet. However, all the background, which is not really in the background, you can just see what's happening, right? While the background is moving in the very positive direction. That's the point. So there's a mismatch between the current price and the underlying movements of the technology and of crypto itself. That presents an opportunity, see, because when the price catches up with it and eventually overtakes the fundamentals, because never forget, these things don't go hand in hand. So usually you have a mismatch where the price is below what it should be, and then you have a mismatch where the price is way above where it should be. Same thing, works both sides, right? It's usually when you have stocks that are very overvalued, they don't come to fair value. No, they come to undervalued and then back to some level of fair value, and then you go into overvalue again, and then they come back to undervalued, and so on and so forth. So what I'm trying to say is that these things typically don't go, perfectly aligned with the exact value or the exact price they should have. They undershoot and they overshoot, and then it's up to us, I guess, to recognize when something is being undervalued or there's a mismatch between the current price and the fundamentals underneath it, which I believe it's now the case. I do still think the second half of October will be very strong. We'll see if I'm right, but I'm looking mostly towards, as you guys know, 2025, and let's see if that prediction of Bitcoin above 80K second half of November, let's see if that comes to fruition. And with that, guys, thank you very much for your support. It's very good to be back. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.